All right. Cool. Well, the day didn't go as we expected, but let's see what's going on and what we can do from here on. Well, our expectation was that this dip, particularly which happened yesterday, was retraced to where we wanted it, and the next one will be just an A equals to C, coming right here at around 60.65 or 60.75, and that should be it, right? And but that's not where it stopped. Now, if we see, this is not A equals to C. This is going in 261% or more, which is in particularly it's a wave three going on right now downwards, right? So from here to here, you see we are already almost about 200%. Goes further below, we can go to 261% as well, right? So that would be area to bounce. Probably can bounce here as well, or have a test of this liquidity here, right here, and then bounce. But that's like a very short term thing. So once this third wave is done, what we are looking at is another bounce and a dip, right? And from there, we can have a bounce back again. So that's something which I expect that, this sort of action, if we start the bounce here or at 6015, or it goes down all the way to 5992 today, right? And then it bounces. We probably will get another dip on Monday. That is something which in I think probably can be bought, right? And we will go right back into 6100, and this is where I would want to close all my remaining positions. I took off some which were at par, little bit profit, and did I take any loss? Yeah, I took the loss on QQQ probably because they're gonna run out of time by doing all this on Monday and Tuesday. We may not even get value. Instead, we will long again if we need to long on Monday after we see this five waves completed. After five waves, there is an ABC rebound. Generally, the rebound is very sharp on the first wave down. That's an observation, not a rule. So we should get some opportunity to long at least for 61% to 78% retracement from this area, which is again either reaching 6085 or this supply. So this is your new supply which has formed from yesterday's and today's action, right? So let me just mark it this here, and this will be tested again. So this will be the area, like I said, which is where we go for the closure of anything that is long, and then look for another downtrend. Now, the few things which I was saying in chat, I yet don't know if this is something where we come down here, bounce, and this whole thing ends at 5900, or this is actually a C wave down. When I say say C wave, this is a conversation which we were doing yesterday, that you have this A, this was a B, and now you're doing a C wave down. C wave can be equal to A, can be lower than A as well, because it made a little minor high. It can just come and close here at around 5800. Can be equal, can be lower, depends if it's regular flat or expanded flat or running flat, right? So any three of those can happen. Uh, since it didn't go much up, I can't really say it's a running flat. It's most likely gonna be between regular flat, which is where the C will just close at where the A is, or go a little bit lower, which is expanded flat, where the B goes a little above and C goes a little lower, right? So, but this is the target we should be looking at. I mean, there is no other pattern which fits right now. Earlier, what we were looking at was that we are in a nesting situation. We have this one, two, and then moving up. But this is most likely gonna get invalidated, though it's not fully invalidated yet. But it's gonna get invalidated because this drop is way too low, and if it makes a low here below 6,000, it certainly invalidates to be a nesting, right? So that's the biggest change which has happened. But for people who were asking, shall we take this long or that long? I think we should wait for Monday. We want the completion of these five waves, and anything that we will take as a long will be only for a dead cat bounce for now, assuming we are not making a new high until we clear out this pattern and go lower, which means again a scalp bounce for a couple of days, maybe Monday, Tuesday, and then another downturn, unless it comes to be very sharp, which has happened before. That sometimes the C waves are pretty sharp, you do not get a lot of a bounce. You may partially get a little bit and then you start selling off. There hasn't been any news that I'm aware of. Looks like a very controlled sell. So I would assume that there will be a bounce next week, with which we can get an opportunity to, like I said, close some more longs and then go short at least for 5900 or below 5770. So that's majorly on the US 500. And the comment here, let me just read it. Instead of nesting, can it be a flat in 1 2 for C into 5930? That's the kind of scenario, right? So that's what I was saying. May not be 5930, but here around 5900, right? So what Master Redbit is talking about is that what if this is your wave one and you are getting a wave 2 bounce here. So instead of going all the way down to 5770, you are getting basically a flat correction for wave 2. So that's why I kept this 5900 in the midway, that this is also possible. We can go all the way down to 5770 as well, right? So both options exist at this point of time. Just one second. Yeah. Right, so that is what we have on US 500, and let's just quickly move to US 100. Very similar scenario, a little bit of marginally high bounce. We were looking at a 1 2 1 2 nesting, but this is certainly turning into a bearish pattern where again could it be a wave C? That's kind of looks like. So going back to the same point on US 500 that we saw, this is a little different, Master Edward. If you focus on this one, if I consider this as one, this doesn't seem like a right way of doing an ABC. So that couldn't be the that may not apply in that way. But the other way that we can look into this particular pattern would be that this whole thing was a correction as an A B C D E as a triangle, right? And post that, we got a wave one bounce on the US 100. Now we are doing an ABC of some sort, which means again that the sell will be over somewhere in the 61% to 78% area. Hold on a second. Just move these and let's just see if this was my wave one, where it should end. So somewhere around 21,366 area, right? Around this liquidity. So what will happen in a case of correction here? It'll come here to 50%, bounce here back into 21,947, then come down for one more low at 21,366 and be done with it and start moving, right? And that would be doing this in the channel. So this could be an alternate case if it doesn't sell all the way down to the lower number that I talked about in the US 500 as well, right? So that's an option. Or the other bearish option is this is my 1 2 3 4 5 in the works. We bounce back and then we sell hard next week, later on Tuesday, Wednesday, somewhere around that, and come back here, do the C wave, right? So that will be my extreme bearish option to go back down there, on this one. And overall, does it changes much from the upside projections? Not really. We have talked about this pattern quite a bit in the past as well. It just has taken so much of time here that we keep repeating it again and again. But overall, we still think that it's our 1 2 3 4 and 5 pattern, right? So that's the uh, 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 count that we will stick to until something changes very drastically, right? We are still waiting for this fifth wave to come, which we were, expecting that this will continue as a fifth wave. But if this turns out to be this bearish pattern of testing these lows again, somewhere around here, right, and then we are looking at the fifth wave after that. Now, I don't want to go too much beyond that, but let's say if the top is in, which I really don't think it is, but let's say if the top is in, you'll still get, this five wave down. Um, right now we are considering this as that this is my A, B, and C, right? But if this is an impulse down happening, like the first impulse down, and the trend is changing, and the top is in, then the next bounce will be telling that again this supply, when this whole five legs are over, the supply which gets formed here in the wave one and two, that will be tested again as a bounce, right? Here somewhere in the 21,622 range, or 61, sorry, 6,000 or 6,100, or close to 6080, or somewhere around that on SPX. And then we go lower, right? So that's a way too far, but I always talk about this whenever I'm talking about these corrections. Way too far. Let's just focus on the first two scenarios, but I know some people will start talking about the top is in, etc., etc., and it'll be on the X as well. So just need to know what we are looking at, where the liquidity is, where it's gonna go and hit. Right now, the two pivot big spots are 5,900 and 5,770, right? One of them will create a strong bounce first on Monday, and then we will see where we go from there, right? So stay tuned for that for next week. Right now, hold on to the longs into new longs. We'll do, if we need to do new longs, we'll do it on Monday again, just for scalping perspective. Close everything on whatever we want to on that bounce, and then do a bit short to get down to 5,900 and below, if it goes below, right? So hopefully we'll get the chance. Hopefully it's not an overnight action. Right now I'm not looking into, after a drop in the price of around 1.5%, I do not want to kind of open up the shorts. So opportunity was, if I wanted to take a short, was below that 50 sorry, 60 number, which we were looking at as the retracement baseline, that it should not go below 60 at all. But right now there's no point opening up short into the next week or so. So that's basically SPX and the QQQ. Let's just see the QQQ number just in case, just for you to remember. Simply, this four moves here. If we come all the way down to the number which I was talking about, US 500, if this comes in between somewhere, then it's a different story altogether. But I think more or less the case looks like we'll go and hit the 500 number again, just to make this as a flat correction for wave 4. That kind of makes more sense than anything else right now. Let me just server mute some people. Okay. All right, so that's that. And from the DIA perspective, it's selling now. Well, it kind of took its time to sell down. So it's right at the spot where we wanted it to be, which was 433, which we kept talking when we first shorted it here. We closed up puts, and after that, it just took, like, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks to just consolidate into this B wave, and then it. Sorry, I still have my throat infected. Um, so yeah, it's at 433. But again, now if things keep selling again next week as well, like we were talking about for the other ones, then we are looking at Dow to come back all the way for wave 4 here as well, right? So same demand zone, probably make a double, triple bottom, or quad bottom here around 416, and then the move can start from there. So somebody was asking about the banks to log in, to go long on. I think should hold on to it. Give me a moment. Let me just grab some water. All right. So that's Dow, and let's look into IWM a little bit as well. So of course it didn't give me the bounce I was looking at 237. Instead it's going for a next leg lower. So if this was my A and this is going for a next leg lower, then I'm looking at an equal leg going down on IWM. Um, and we come here at about 100% retracement, somewhere in the 201 line, goes even lower, which is 201 line is somewhere around, taking up the liquidity here. Goes lower, can certainly come and test this 196 mark as well, right? And that should finish up the big long pending ABC on this one, which means if yields are dropping, if more tax cuts are coming, this kind of let me just remove some of these. Guys, can you be on mute, please? Yeah, my wife made it. It's pretty bomb. Sure. Okay. All right. So, this will be like, coming down here will make the cup and handle pattern, complete. Um, and I think this will be around 50% to 61% retracement here. Yeah, somewhere 196 or 190. This will complete the 196. 61% retracement of this whole move. And after that, if small caps have to rally, that would be the place. So this kind of pattern will complete here, and after that we can start looking at the upside. Theoretically, I mean that's how the cup and handle should work. We'll see what happens. Right, too early to say, but this is what I would be looking at if the sell continues in the next week to get down. Come on, guys, can you be on mute, please? To mute each one of them. Okay, all right. So that's IWM. Let's talk about SMH. So my intended move was that it comes down here. At least if this is going as a triangle, then what I was looking at is that we have this A and a big B move, long time, then a C move, a D move, and an E move, right? So that's what I was looking at. So probably it's coming and stopping at 244. I do not have an alternate option to this one right now. I mean, worst case I can think of is that probably this E comes in a little lower at this point. Let's say you get a dip here, a bounce, and you have some Nvidia earning coming up. I need to see which date it is, and this becomes my E. That's what I'm looking at right now. But the other way it could pan out, if I have to think about it, maybe we are still doing a C wave right now, which would mean that we are not even done with this C wave, which probably means we come all the way here, and then we do some all other consolidation over the next few weeks. So which means you come here, bounce, and make the C wave, then you have a D wave. You keep doing this for a long while because the kind of sell that we are looking at, at SPX, I don't know if that's gonna bring SMH all the way down to here, right? This was our previous, if you remember this 198, we've talked about it for a while that, if this was my A, this is my B, and I'll come all the way down to C. We haven't seen that yet. We didn't see that kind of weakness, right? So I'll give triangle my first preference, but this can certainly happen, right? If this sells so much, which means Nvidia probably will have to sell during the earnings. Let's just see when the Nvidia ER is. Um, it's in 5 days, right? So we'll have some more information after that. So far, what I was looking at this resistance was that NVIDIA retraces. If this was my wave one, then NVIDIA retraces somewhat bit back to 127. At worst case, retraces to 120, and after that, the rally starts. And if it's on 26th, that's basically Wednesday. Yeah, we will not have the sell-off complete by Wednesday unless this is a 1-2 formation, the other formation which we talked about. So there is a lot of that we have to kind of work through in the next week. As first thing first, let's get the bounce to trace back towards 6100, and then let's see how the other stocks are aligning at that point of time. I think that would be our thought process, and this was the reason I closed out Dell as well. That why to kind of let the green stock come into the red. If the wave one is complete here, then I'll probably find it again back into this range somewhere here, right? And at around 107. So we bought it around 106. So if this dips back, I'll have a better buying again for the next high based on how things are in different places, right? So that was about semis. Let's quickly look into the BTC because that's another one which I exited. I've been holding it for so long that it was getting frustrating to just hold it and watch these barcoding for so long. And my buy was between somewhere around 92 to 96, so it was like a little bit of green, not too much. But I didn't want to keep it because the way it is going, or the way we are looking at indexes to go, and this not able to close above this 100K mark, which we kept talking about for so long. The chances that it will come back to that 87K mark, which has been our worst case that we have been talking about somewhere here. If this comes to 87K or 85K, I'll kind of do a buy there. So it'll give me a better price. That's the only reason I kind of got out of it as well. And then post that we can see what happens. That was Bitcoin, and what else? Coin. So coin was okay. So it already breaking down. So that's what I was sharing on the other day as well. That if this is not my 1, 2, 3 setup, then it's failing. And now things are different. Probably I should close this as well. We bought it around 175 and we started buying it somewhere in this pocket, and closed some at 340. Then again at 265, and now it is kind of going down. And the point here is that if this the couple of things that you should know. If the 87K bounce is going to come, then probably we have this coming down only for a partial wave here, like a wave 1, 2, and then we have a 3, 4, and 5 going after, right? So that's not a problem. That's 10, $20 is not going to create a lot of problem here. But in case something goes wrong, and this is my fifth wave which was done to make this cup complete, right? Then there is a bigger problem for us to even holding coin, because we are gonna form this as a handle, and when it's forming it as a handle, it can come down as low as 144 or 114, right? So that's like overall a wave two, which means maybe Bitcoin will not hold 87K. You never know, right? That could happen. That's like again a worst case scenario. Depends on what happens here. Do we start breaking this low and start coming down, and this becomes like a five wave down overall, right? So if this was my 1, 2, this becomes my 3, 4, 5, like a wave A down. That's like a big drawdown, right? So this is why I was considering closing coin and closed MSTR as well. That this is gonna be a little bit of draining to hold these stocks all the way down when there is gonna be a better buying opportunity through this whole handle formation, and and we get this sort of a correction. If those five waves are done, then we are gonna form this kind of a structure structure over the period of next few months, right? So that's Coin, and MSTR was also doing similar stuff, that it wasn't holding the triangle either. Now, if you're still holding, your last spot here is 94 and closing this gap somewhere around 267, if you are holding it or you want to hold it. And if this does not hold here and bounce back again, like doing a double bottom or a triple bottom, then we have a challenge, big challenge with MSTR as well, right? If this does not happen, then we are looking at it going back again to 200 or so. Yeah, I think 200 will be an appropriate level, and it can come all the way down here, right? So that was another reason where I was reluctant to kind of hold it. Though I still think it's a very small wave in a very large opportunity. I think what's going on in here is, if I have to look into this, is my larger wave one and two. We're still in the wave three, so it's not that the stock is done. It's just that the correction is much deeper than what we are looking at. So um, just going to doing this count for the internal count for this. If this was my one and two probably, and this was like my smaller one and two, and this is like one, maybe 1 2 1 2, or a 1 ABC, something like that. This goes. So probably what we are doing right now is we are getting into a area where this is my larger three, and this is my four, and then five will come later on, which will complete the wave three on a larger degree, which means this, that if this was my one, two, this whole thing goes to three here, and then there will be a four, and then there will be a five, something like that. So this is still a minor degree, probably can hold here, but if it doesn't, the next demand really comes in this area, right? So that's another reason where I thought would be a good entry spot. If this keeps going down, then I'll better buy it at lower 200s rather than keeping it in the 300s, and then kind of averaging it. It's just a cash management thing that I kind of did there. Right, so that's MSTR. We covered coin, Bitcoin as well. PayPal. Let's see PayPal. Yeah, let's see. Let's see what happens on Monday. I was not expecting one more low to come here, which probably means that this C wave is still going on this one, and this bounce was only a wave four bounce. PayPal is like for June, so I don't want to kind of rush up closing that. We have a lot of time. We didn't fully average that as well yet, so I think we still have an opportunity here, as long as we see it completing this five wave and start bouncing again. So shouldn't be a problem there. I think we are okay. So SPX is bouncing right now. Let's just go and review that chart back again, where it is bouncing from, at least a little bit. Let's see. Yeah, so where we have a bounce right now is somewhere around, this is marked right. Okay, so somewhere below 161%, didn't even reach 200% yet. So, like I was saying, let it complete this wave three, wave four, and we have another hour to go. I don't know if this is gonna be the day which where we close on the lows. Which means if that happens, probably maybe a good idea to even do some calls for Monday, or probably do an SPXL long again, which we closed. If it goes here and at the end of the day it's closing and we get the divergence here, right? I'll probably take longs today as well. Then this is not gonna last till Monday. Then it probably can happen today as well. So let's see what happens. So let it come back to 6035, and I would want to see some last hour sell off. If you remember, we had something similar in the previous sell. I think this was on the next day though. But yeah, we had kind of played that intraday as well. It kind of bounces here into this area, and make this trade four quickly. And in the last hour, in the last 30 minutes, VIX bounces, and this sell-off happens, and we close right below 6,000, making it even look further bearish, right? But what's going to happen is this is going to just complete the five waves, and on a Monday, we will start this bounce back, first going into 60, 76, and then drop, and then probably going back into 60, 80, or 6100, something like that, right? So idle spot for us to do that, but let's see what happens on there. Anything else that you kind of want me to cover? I talked about semis, about the crypto, about about all the indexes. Anything else that we want to cover?
Yeah, do you want to talk about GS? Is it a good time or just wait for next
Yeah, GS. Let's see GS. Let me just first see what Wix is doing. I was on that. I'll cover GS. Right. So Wix has a supply here, which makes sense. Aligned to what I just talked about on SPX. That if this wave three is complete here, it's gonna do a little bit of a drop here on Wix, right? For the next 30-40 minutes at the max. A little bit of a drop here on the Wix, and then it bounces towards the end of the day again towards 20. Right. That happens, you'll get an hourly divergence here, which means next week Wix will drop back again to 17, and below that it'll drop to 16.61 again, right? So that kind of the plan on Wix. Let's talk about GS. Um, so GS is completing this five wave structure here, right? So right into the point where we were kind of marked that it's gonna come below these points, right? Now here's the thing. Um, Getting oversold. I mean, you can bounce it, but if you're looking at like just buying calls for scalp, I think it's fine. There shouldn't be any problem. This spot should create a bounce, and we should go back to at least 647. If nothing else, above that can certainly go up to the top supply zone here, which is about 662, right? Generally, with the five waves down, I would keep 61% as an optimal point of retracement. Sometimes it's more bullish than that. It goes up to 78% as well, right? But at least for 648. So if you would want to go long here, below this, or if it goes even lower, this is even much better spot because a lot of support is there, right? From these highs, and this is around 618. I don't know if it's gonna sell that much at the last hour or so, but just keep a watch, right? Or add some now and add some later, some that can work as well, but then bounce back to 647. It's just only a scalp idea, not taking shares or anything like that right now. Even if you're taking shares, it's a scalp, it's not a long term buy, because we were looking at uh, you know, we're just looking at a partial retracement right now. So that's GS, and if it has to do I don't know if this is multiple retracement right now, or it's gonna do a multiple legs. That's something which we still have to see, because if this was my one, two, in my opinion, my wave three had finished here, right on this leg, right? And I was expecting on the other day that the sell off will happen when we were talking about it coming down to SPX coming down to 59, and Dow going to 433 and all that. I was expecting a sell off here, but it bounced kind of in between and pushed up. So my opinion is that it could be the C leg again, which means GS may not even see another leg down. It could still hold strong for whatever reason. And this may just start forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. Like when SPX and other indexes make another leg down, it could just be doing the wave two and may not make any new more lows. But yeah, this area sounds fair because the risk and reward is pretty clear. If it starts dragging below this, which is 610, that's your stop loss. BTC, I mean, the question is, should you hold BTC if you're a little red? If you're gonna average down at 87K, that's totally fine. I mean, I don't see a challenge. But if you want to just get cash with a minor bread, that's totally your choice. Tesla. So Tesla is still holding the 61% mark, and when the dip was happening towards this 328 or 320 mark, the worst case scenario that we had thought about was that we will have another dip towards this level 304 or yeah, 300, I guess 303, somewhere around this number, right? So that's still our worst case scenario, that we get this dip here. Now, I'm not a big fan of that particular count. Few reasons technically, just from the Elliott wave perspective. This was my three wave down here. I had another three wave up, which did not go as much as up as the point or the starting point of these wave A. So I do not consider this as a flat correction. A flat correction is only one where the C leg is your five waves down, right? And this is what I mean with five waves down when it goes there. So it's kind of not a rule, but kind of you know um, you can say a known thing that in a flat, the pattern called flat because the high the retracement goes as high as the starting point of the previous wave, which is from here the A wave happened, this B retraces all the way up to the A. Right, so this is where a flat fits very well. This does not look either like a flat, but I mean, let's say a worst case scenario. Now, this does not look like a five wave down either, but let's say something different is happening here, and I somehow I have this. Let's say for worst case, let's consider this as wave one. Though I don't think it is a wave one, wave two, wave three, wave four, five. It does not really align. I mean, again, this wave four is too small. If this was the wave two, this wave four is too small. In any case, worst case scenario, if this happens, in worst case scenario, we get to 300. I still have my bounce from here to here. So the 420 should still happen. Same rule, five waves down generally get retraced 61%. This is like an absolute worst case where Tesla is not making any highs from here or anything like that, and and from there on we are gonna go into another correction. That okay, you go 61% and you make another connection to come back to 260 or so before anything else can be done, which is again, I mean, if we see, that's going to become another cup and a handle pattern. There's so many of them being forming all over the place, like this. So if this happens, I mean, yeah, another handle can happen, but another handle can come here, but I really don't think that kind of fits. And Tesla has a habit of doing something which is like totally different than the regular pattern. So I would have to give it my that kind of keep my options open basically, and a benefit of doubt. The plan will remain. We are in TSLLs from somewhere around above 364. And that's where this whole thing was halting as well. 364. 364 is my I didn't close it. I didn't do covered calls on those. But if this comes down to 300, this is where I'm gonna buy again, right? And the buy and then plan is again that on a bounce, we'll see how high it goes. Goes back to this 364 resistance, or can cross up to and go all the way up to 420, like I just explained, and kind of exit from there. That's Tesla. What else? EVCO. Okay. And by the way, the primary case still remains the same. That okay, this is not my new low formation. Primary case is still that this was my one and two. but it does not really fit on how other, we talked about other indexes or so. We still have to watch it cautiously. This is why my 364 was the biggest level to cross over. Until that happens, I mean, we were not sure. We'll see what happens. I don't want to give up on this. A lot to come on Monday, and we'll see how it goes, right? So that's the thing. But if you have taken calls today, I think somebody was talking about it. Probably, I think they were talking about calls somewhere around 346. That's certainly in a problem. So you should, if this goes any more lower and starts closing below 334, that should be stopped. But for anybody holding TSL, I think it's just fine that let it go lower into 300 if it goes, and we'll just average it down. I won't be taking a loss on this one. FGO. So this is again yet we had this whole ABC thing after this rally from the earning. It hasn't moved anywhere. Now, is it gonna be a wave 1 2, which we talked about that? Okay, it's coming down as a wave 1 2. We talked about it Nvidia as well, right? So we still have to see what kind of sell off we get next week. If it starts breaking from here below, then from 211 or so, then we are looking at probably this being a complex correction at the per se, and it comes back to 4 here, and this whole thing is just a bigger WXY pattern going on right now, which is always very confusing, that you have some sort of W here, X here, and a Y here, and all these are in between some sort of ABC, though this doesn't even look like an ABC. So there's a lot of confusion here in this particular one. Can it be a triangle? It can certainly be a triangle that keeps working. This area doesn't go anywhere while the sell is happening on the other places. It's like I spoke about SMH as well, that semi still stays strong, and we are looking at some sort of a triangle formation for wave 4 here. And this was the whole thing developed as an A, B, and C, and D, and E, while other things are selling is just consolidating like SMH has done all the while, and then it kind of goes from there. So yeah, something like this is certainly an option, because otherwise not a lot makes sense here in terms of why there was such a big push during the earnings if this was not my wave 5, which should complete somewhere here in the 289.90 area. All right, what else? All right, cool. Sounds good. If nothing else, then let's just go back and see if we get the bounce on the last hour or last 30-minute sell on SPX. Right now, it's just consolidating and kind of curling around at that particular. All right, thank you, everybody.